Track every dollar to break the budget. For many people, overspending isn't a lack of willpower but a mismatch between attention and spending. When you pull the curtain back and watch where each dollar goes, patterns emerge, emotions align with choices, and you gain the power to redirect money toward the priorities you actually care about. This video invites you into a practical system that uses daily tracking as a mirror for behavior, not as a rulebook that confines you. Most budgets fail not because the numbers are wrong, but because the tracking stops. People set ambitious targets and then rely on memory to police every impulse. Memory, however, is imperfect, and impulses blur into routines before you notice. Tracking changes that dynamic by turning fleeting moments into concrete data you can review, compare, and adjust. It creates a cycle where observation informs action, and action reinforces observation. In short, tracking reframes money as feedback rather than as an abstract pressure. To begin, you need a clear aim: reduce mindless spending while preserving the things you value. That means distinguishing between essentials and non-essential expenditures, and recognizing that not every small purchase is small in its impact. A single impulse can feel negligible, but the sum of hundreds of small impulses adds up quickly. When you track, the aggregate truth becomes visible, and visible truth is the first step toward meaningful change. The core idea is to track with intention, not perfection. Start with a simple framework that feels sustainable and scalable. A three-category approach: essentials, wants, and subscriptions, keeps you grounded while allowing for growth as you become more confident in your data. Essentials cover housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, and any recurring payments you cannot avoid. Wants capture discretionary spending that improves your life but isn't strictly necessary. Subscriptions are the ongoing costs you pay for ongoing access, whether you use them or not, and they often hide in plain sight until you confront them. Before you log a dollar, define what counts as a dollar in your system. If you swipe a card for a latte and a pastry, does the transaction belong under a daily coffee rule, or under groceries? The key is consistency. Write down the rule once, and apply it every time you log. Inconsistent rules create fuzzy data you cannot act on, and fuzzy data breeds excuses rather than accountability. The moment you decide that a coffee is a fuel for your work rather than a treat, you create a pattern that sticks when temptation arises. Two practical metrics guide you as you start: monthly total and category drift. The monthly total helps you see the broader trajectory. Is your overall spending moving toward your target, or drifting away from it? Category drift measures how far each category strays from its planned share. If groceries creep from $400 to $520, drift has occurred. If you're consistently hitting your grocery budget, drift is minimal. These metrics give you dashboards you can scan quickly and still act on with confidence. A simple daily entry is enough to start. At the end of the day, log every dollar you spent, using a fixed format: date, amount, category, and a short note about why you bought it. In the beginning, a naive log can feel tedious, but routine coverage compounds quickly. The moment you see your day summarized, you sense the friction between intention and action, and that friction is the cue you need to adjust for tomorrow. Let's walk through a concrete example to illustrate how to log without overcomplicating the process. On Monday, you grab a latte for $4.50 during a mid-morning break and pick up a snack for $2.75 on the way back to your desk. You enter grocery, coffee and snack, total $7.25. You add a one-line note: needed a quick energy boost to sustain work. This helps you remember the context later when you review your day, so you don't confuse temporary relief with long-term benefit. Now consider groceries for the week. Your plan lets you spend $250 on groceries this week, with a $60 buffer for near-term needs. You record each purchase as it happens or within the same day, keeping a running subtotal that updates your weekly grocery total automatically. The point isn't to punish yourself, it's to give you a reliable ledger to refer back to when you feel the urge to grab one more item or switch brands. About tools, you have options that fit different personalities. A simple notebook in the kitchen drawer can work for someone who values tangibility and minimal setup. A spreadsheet offers structure, formulas, and quick recalculations for drift analysis. A budgeting app can automate categorization and send reminders, but it may introduce friction if you dislike data entry steps. The common thread is that the tool should disappear from view once you've established your routine, not demand constant attention. When choosing a method, test a month with a lightweight approach. You might start with a daily log in a notebook and a single weekly review on Sunday evenings. If you prefer technology, begin with a basic expense tracking app that auto-categorizes a portion of your transactions and lets you input the rest quickly. The goal is to lower the mental load while keeping you emotionally and cognitively engaged with your spending. A practical system uses 3 buckets: essentials, wants, and subscriptions. Essentials include rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, and health expenses that recur with predictable patterns. Wants are discretionary purchases that add comfort or pleasure but aren't necessities, like dining out or new clothing. Subscriptions are recurring payments for services you may not even notice daily, such as streaming services or software, and they often accumulate quietly until they become a problem. In your daily routine, you'll record each expenditure with a simple tag, category, amount, and a brief justification. The justification is not to relive guilt but to capture the motive behind the spend. Was it a social moment, a convenience, a stress relief, or a genuine need? This awareness reduces automaticity and makes future decisions more intentional rather than reactionary. During the weekly review, you compare your actuals to your plan. Ask yourself where drift occurred and what triggered it. Was there a sale that pushed you to buy more than necessary, or a long day that made you reach for convenience rather than preparation? This reflection helps you adjust the plan rather than chastise yourself, and it builds a more resilient budgeting mindset that adapts to real life without turning you off to money management. Over time, you'll notice patterns in your spending. Perhaps after long work weeks, you're more likely to buy takeout, or maybe weekends trigger social spending that isn't aligned with your goals. The power of tracking lies in revealing these patterns so you can design countermeasures that fit your life, not a one-size-fits-all rule. Small adjustments, repeated consistently, accumulate into significant changes in your financial trajectory. One effective adjustment is to automate a portion of your plan. For example, set a monthly transfer that seeds your savings or debt payoff before you access discretionary funds. Automating allocation reduces decision fatigue and forgiveness errors. When you don't have the cash available, you're less likely to overspend. Automation works best when it's paired with accountability that you maintain the habit of checking in with your data regularly rather than skipping reviews. A concrete case helps illustrate how this system can work in a real-life setting. Think of Alex, who noticed after a few weeks that his grocery spending drifted upward while his dining out category remained flat. He adjusted by switching to a meal prep routine, which lowered his per meal cost and increased his control over portions, while still allowing room for occasional dining out when it was truly desired and budgeted. Another common drift arises from coffee culture and impulse purchases near the office. Tracking made Alex realize that he was buying coffee twice a day on most days, not counting the pastry he grabbed in the afternoon. He experimented with bringing coffee from home and leaving a priced note in his tracker to remind him of the cost difference, which shaved several dollars off weekly totals without eliminating small pleasures. Beyond individual adjustments, you can design a more resilient habit by using habit stacking. Pair your daily log with a fixed cue, such as finishing your evening meal, and a fixed reward, like a brief 5-minute reflection on what you learned from the day's data. This pairing makes the act of tracking feel automatic rather than burdensome, which reduces resistance and strengthens the likelihood that you'll continue over the long term. Another area to consider is how you handle inconsistent income or irregular expenses. If your income fluctuates, your budget should adapt accordingly rather than forcing a fixed, potentially unsound target. Track not only spending but also income variability and the months when you have more leeway and those with leaner cash flow. By recognizing this pattern, you can allocate a buffer in higher-earning months to cover leaner periods without stress or guilt. As you deepen your practice, you can introduce light automation to reduce data entry fatigue. Set up automatic categorization for recurring expenses, and build simple formulas to compute drift and monthly totals. Then reserve a specific time each week for a human review of the categories that automation didn't capture perfectly. This blended approach keeps your system accurate while minimizing manual labor. Security and privacy are legitimate concerns when tracking money digitally. If you use online tools, choose reputable platforms with strong data protections and avoid sharing credentials or sensitive information beyond what is necessary for your spending ledger. At a minimum, limit access to your own devices, enable two-factor authentication, and periodically audit the data you've stored. A tracking system that feels secure will be used more consistently, and consistency is the backbone of any sustainable financial habit. Be mindful of common traps that can derail your early progress. Rounding up every transaction to the nearest dollar can create a misleading sense of control while inflating totals. Ignoring very small purchases, like a single coffee or a bus fare, can also distort the data if you skip them or forget to log them later. Small rose-colored mistakes accumulate into a big misstatement of where your money actually goes, and that misstatement undermines the confidence you need to keep going. Another trap is treating tracking as punishment rather than feedback. If you view the ledger as a weapon that restricts your life, you'll abandon the system at the first sign of friction. Instead, reframe tracking as a mirror that helps you align your spending with your values and goals. When you see that alignment clearly, the process becomes meaningful rather than burdensome, and that meaning sustains you through the inevitable temptations and busy days. Mental accounting errors can also undermine your progress. People tend to separate money into arbitrary pots and justify overspending in one bucket because another bucket has surplus. In reality, money is fungible, and the key is total impact on your overall financial health. Your tracking should emphasize the bigger picture, how your daily decisions affect debt, savings, and the life you want to build, rather than the temporary satisfaction of a single purchase. To keep momentum, consider pairing tracking with deliberate habit formation strategies. Use a cue routine reward loop to anchor the practice, starting with a predictable cue, such as finishing dinner, performing the log, and then rewarding yourself with a short walk or a brief social check-in. This approach builds a positive association with tracking and makes it easier to sustain even when life gets busy or stressful. Ultimately, tracking every dollar is less about perfection and more about awareness. By converting spending into data, you create a feedback loop that informs smarter choices, reduces regret, and strengthens your money mindset. The result isn't a confiscatory rulebook but a living system that adapts to your life and supports the financial outcomes you want without eroding your quality of life. If you're ready to start, pick your 3-category framework, choose a logging method that feels doable, and commit to a single week of consistent entries. After that week, perform a short review to identify one actionable adjustment that would meaningfully reduce drift. Your future self will thank you for taking that small, concrete step today, and every step after that becomes easier because you have data, not guesswork, guiding you. Remember, you are not controlling every outcome, but you are shaping your relationship with money through simple, repeatable actions that build momentum over time.